Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agmofwebe. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. You can download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our 24/7 broadcast. The chairperson of the local government area of Lagos State, Surah Animashao, has suspended the installation of the new Olu of Ekpe. Animashao, who also suspended all Eid el-Kabir celebration and Jumat prayer in the local council's central mosque and Eid ground, made this known in a letter addressed to the community's Grand Chief Imam. She said after the demise of the immediate Olu Ekpe of Ekpe Kingdom, Oba Shefiu Adewale, two popular chiefs in the community, Chief Adeniyi Kadri Odede Ogboro and Chief Eskilu Olajide Ikuforoji, have been parading themselves as his successor. Deputy President of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Barau Jibrin in Kano, has paid a condolence visit to the families of the 22 athletes who died in a motor accident. The families of the late athletes received Barau and his entourage at the Gwagwanwa Jumat Mosque in Nasarawa local government area of the state. In a statement by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ismail Mudashir, Barau described the incident as tragic and announced the donation of 1 million naira to each of the deceased families. Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Engineer Professor Joseph Chelum Utsev, has expressed deep concern over the recent flood incidents in Mokwa, which claimed lives and displaced the residents on May 29, 2025. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja, the minister emphasized that the flood was not due to releases from the Kainji or Jaba dams, both of which remain safe. Instead, he insisted resulted from extreme rainfall linked to climate change worsened by blocked waterways due to unregulated buildings. Priscilla Obasi completes the story.
The Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation has addressed the nation on the flood incident across the country, clarifying the cause of the recent flood in Mokwa, Niger State, while restating early flood warnings issued in April. The minister commended the immediate response efforts of the Niger State government, local authorities, and first responders who have been working tirelessly to provide relief and support to the victims. He stated that technical personnel from the ministry, Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, Upper Niger River Basin Development Authority, and National Water Resources Institute are currently on ground in Mokwa assessing the situation to produce a detailed report.
This opportunity to re-echo the key warnings and recommendations from the 2025 annual flood outlook. We have urged and we are still urging states and local governments to act on these early warnings by 1. Strengthening drainage infrastructure, relocating vulnerable communities from flood plains, engaging in sustained public awareness campaigns, and enforcing land use regulations to prevent encroachment into flood-prone areas.
Professor Usev emphasized that part of the issue is the encroachment of floodplains by residents who were previously advised not to settle in such areas. He stressed that flooding can be prevented through proper urban planning and the provision of adequate drainage infrastructure.
Weather events, including intensive rainfall and river flooding, are becoming more frequent and severe across the country and globally. These events not only disrupt livelihoods, they also challenge the resilience of our infrastructure and environment. As a ministry, we remain fully committed to our mandate of monitoring, managing the nation's water resources in a sustainable and climate resilient manner.
The ministry had earlier predicted flooding in 19 local government areas of Niger State, including Mokwa, through its 2025 annual flood outlook. communities across 33 states, including the FCT, are identified as high-risk zones, with the minister calling for stronger drainage systems, relocation of vulnerable population, and stricter enforcement of land use laws. Priscilla Obasi, Global Television.
Thank you so very much, Priscilla, for your reporting. The Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, JUSUN, has suspended its strike, which started on Monday. The union announced the suspension in a communique issued after its meetings with the representatives of the Chief Judge of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun. The communique, signed by all stakeholders present, said this was after long deliberations on issues that led to the declaration of the industrial action by the union. Following suspected herdsmen attacks that left several people dead in two communities in Benue State, Governor Hyacinth Alia, in company of all security heads in the state, has paid an on-the-spot assessment visit to them. The communities are Naka in Gwera West and Ankbali Ediku in Upper local government area of the state. Governor Alia also assured the public that the spate of attacks would soon come to an end. Our correspondent in Benue State, Felicity Indere, was there for us.
Communities in Benue State continues to suffer from attacks by armed assailants suspected to be Fulani herders. These assaults have claimed numerous lives and displaced thousands, with the forest linking Naka and Ankpali Adiku often serving as an escape route for the attackers. The governor's visit aimed to commiserate with the affected communities, where 19 people were reportedly killed in Naka and 10 in Ankpali Adiku. In Naka, the Tenagi chief Abunse lamented the growing number of displaced persons and the continued loss of lives.
They have taken over Naka Makudi Road. We demand for 4 points to be properly manned by armed security personnel at Atingila, at Teabua, at Yolaha, and at Imande on Makudi Naka Axis Road, where these banditry attacks do come. Even yesterday, that was the axis they came through.
Chairman of Gwe West Local Government, Victor Omim, while commending government efforts to eradicate insecurity in the state, emphasized that the safety of Gwe West remains their top priority.
I still assure you that by God's grace, it will not go beyond this. I have the assurances of the service chiefs here and the security heads and the governor himself that everything will be brought under control by the grace of God.
In Ankpali Adiku, an eyewitness recounted that the attack occurred around 4:30 p.m. on Sunday, catching residents off guard. 10 people were killed, while several others sustained injuries and are currently receiving treatment in the hospital.
Even the police in the Atodugbo and the soldiers there, we call on them, none of them were able to come because of the kind of gun. Those people were well fortified. Some of them we were able to discover some of the Fulanis. We know, we run things with them. We welcome them when they came. We welcome them, we do everything with them. We show them that cordiality. There were more than 100 and something, well armed.
Traditional rulers and other community members also shared their concerns.
We have been experiencing this kind of attack since the beginning of this year and even last year. But we thank God today from the assurance the governor have given to us that he will make sure all the villagers return back to their communities. But we also appeal to His Excellency to please help us, because the presence of the military in Apa local government is not helping us. And we ask for His Excellency to please come to our aid by maybe caution or withdraw the presence of the military in Apa local government.
Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police has assured the communities of full security from all the security agencies.
We are leaving enough logistics, we are leaving enough personnel, we are taking cognizance of all the areas that His Royal Highness has mentioned and other interests we got. We are moving around and we are going to take the appropriate action, because definitely the assailants must be arrested.
Governor Hyacinth Alia, represented by his Chief of Staff, Paul Biam, expressed deep sorrow over the loss of lives. He also voiced optimism that peace will soon return, stating that critical security measures are being intensified.
It is quite disturbing to see the level of damage that has been done in these communities. The people have been sacked from their villages. We have also met a couple of them and appealed to them to be very calm and understanding. As we go back to Makurdi, there have been some series of requests from the residents, spanning from creating security posts and also ensuring that other strategic steps are taken to ensure that this kind of situation does not occur.
The on-the-spot assessment took the delegation through Naka Ingwe West and Ankpali Adiku in Apa local government areas of Benue State. Felicity Ndere, Global TV News, Makurdi.
We appreciate you, Felicity Ndere. An outbreak of diphtheria has been confirmed in Edo State, resulting in 2 fatalities. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Cyril Oshomole, revealed this in Benin, the state capital, during an emergency response meeting. The action followed confirmation from the University of Benin Teaching Hospital of 5 diphtheria cases, including the 2 deaths. Let's turn to the stories for you. Despite the availability of pedestrian bridges in parts of Abuja, many residents continue to cross busy highways at great risk to their lives. Our correspondent went to some major locations in the city to get public reactions on why these bridges are often ignored.
This is Abuja, and all over the city, the federal government has created pedestrian bridges. But it is no longer a secret that a lot of countrymen will prefer to cross the major road other than using the pedestrian bridges as provided by the government. The question is, why are Nigerians not using pedestrian bridges? And how can we charge a new course in order to change this old paradigm? I am Godwin Sunday. Join me as we feel the pulse of Nigerians even on the streets.
I think one of the main reasons for me why most Nigerians will not like using this pedestrian bridge. You know, an average African will like shortcuts very, very well. So sometimes they feel crossing the road and then jumping is easier. But then it is dangerous. There was something that happened in my presence sometimes about 2 years ago. I was driving from the town down to Lugbe, where a vehicle knocked someone directly in my presence. I saw it live. I know if the person had used that particular pedestrian bridge, that thing wouldn't have happened to the person. And I know that one is just one amongst 100 that have been knocked down from crossing this particular road like this. So I believe if we encourage people, and just like the previous speaker said, if we apply penalty to some of these people that cross the road indiscriminately, I think some of these things will stop.
Can I even say what will have caused it is number one is laziness. Apart from laziness is that some people on careful attitude of people, they don't obey the law. The law says you should climb the pedestrian bridge, and government should do more. Like Trademore, they're supposed to put another one. But those people they are law offenders. Whoever that sees bridge like this and decide to follow is illegal.
Once you have the available things that you are supposed to do and you are doing the wrong thing, anything that happens to you is at your own risk.
At first, I would say it's a mentality that is caused by societal decadence. That with time, people have developed this disobedient attitude to disobey things, and sometimes they do it at the detriment of their own life. So it's simple. If you are sane, you see a pedestrian bridge, the first thing you do, you use it. That is why it is there.
The government that built this, they did it to help the masses. Instead of crossing and waiting for vehicle for ages, you make use of it. You save your life. You save your time. You save the drivers too from accident and from anything that may occur that is not good. You know, using pedestrian is not punishment. It's a means to save life.
Use the bridge to avoid getting killed on the road, and for my safety also. And it's more comfortable than crossing over the sidewalks and everything.
There are some things that government need to impose on the citizens who are not educated. It is the duty of the government to make someone who does not climb the bridge to know that it's an offense. Because if there is any casualty now.
Well, the conversations around using the pedestrian bridge cannot be overemphasized. We encourage you to please use the pedestrian bridge wherever you find one in order to safeguard your life. I am Godwin Sunday for Global Television News.
Godwin Sunday covering the war culture of residents of Abuja ignoring the use of pedestrian bridges. Thank you for your report. And you're watching the live broadcast of the Midday News with Uyi Agmofwegbe. When the rest of the broadcast returns, federal government plans 77,400 housing units across 774 local government areas. We'll have those details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories for you on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us. Well, thank you for staying with us, everyone. The second part of this broadcast now returns with business, where the Federal Operations Unit Zone A of the Nigeria Customs Service has intercepted 46 contraband goods worth 1.5 billion naira in 2 weeks of operations. Controller Mohammed Shoaibu says this at a briefing of the unit's recent activities held in Ikeja, Lagos State. He noted that the seizures followed the successes recorded just 3 weeks after he resumed leadership of the units on April 23. Within the 2-week period, the unit recovered 48.34 million naira through demand notices issued for improperly declared consignments. The federal government, in collaboration with the Food and Agriculture Organization FAO, has unveiled a 200 million naira support initiative to boost aquaculture in Nigeria. This initiative is also expected to help meet the country's annual fish demand. Wellington Omoagbo, Director of Fisheries and Aquaculture at the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, spoke at the inauguration of the Scaling Flash Farming Through Finance initiative held at the Eruwe Fish Farming Cluster in Odogbolu, Ogun State, represented by Paul Opwama. Director 2 at the ministry, Omoagbo, said the initiative aims to promote the sustainability of the country's fisheries resources. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has assured the chiefs of Baduma and Guzape communities in the territory of adequate compensation over the ongoing road construction project. Wike gave the assurance at a meeting with the communities. Godwin Sunday now brings us details.
Minister Nyesom Wike, in a strategic meeting with the traditional chiefs and representatives of the Baduma and Guzampe communities in the Federal Capital Territory, reiterated that every affected individual will be duly compensated and the right of occupancy for new resettlement areas will be provided without delay. The minister, however, clarified that the compensation will be paid for only the structures along the road corridor and not the entire community. He also directed that the compensation package should be doubled to ensure fairness.
After the resettlement, go and make validation. But the rate people are using is too small. Right? Increase their rate. If they're using 50 naira, give them 100 naira. Do you understand me? Then call director to get land for them. For those who are finding not the whole community, it's just those on the corridor, on the road, not entire community. Until we want to talk about community, we know, but this one just on the road corridor. So that we are not pushing out everybody. So don't say I said no, I'm not doing that now. But let the road link up so that we know that we have the development.
In response, the traditional leaders of Baduma and Guzape, led by Sapai of Gariki, Alhaji Usman Nga Kupi, expressed their appreciation to the FCT minister for his transparency and willingness to engage them directly.
thank God and want to appreciate you at this moment. Why I say all this because we have never had a minister that brought his people close to him. We are the only one. Any other one is counterfeit. We are happy we have been praying for you. And I want to tell you clearly that we are in support of what they are doing 100%. It's our community and everybody wants to
The
vote
meeting ended on a positive note, with both parties committing to an ongoing dialogue and collaborating to ensure a smooth and respectful transition for all affected families. Godwin Sunday, reporting for Global Television News.
Let's turn to other stories. The chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts, Bamidele Salam, has called for an urgent need to take a second look at a public accounts system in the country. Now let's turn to the foreign scene for you. Just as after winning the South Korean presidency, Lee Jae-myung has pledged to, quote, unite the people, unquote, in his inauguration speech. The 61-year-old won a snap election by 49.4%, a clear rejection of his rival Kim Moon-soo, who came from the same party as impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol. Yoon triggered months of political chaos after he attempted to impose martial law, which eventually resulted in his impeachment. As he takes on the job, Lee now faces the daunting task of not only uniting the country, but also balancing ties with its most important ally, the United States, under President Trump's unpredictable brand of diplomacy. A top official in one of South Africa's biggest political parties has been sacked after he visited a controversial Malawian pastor in April. Floyd Shivambu has been removed as Secretary General of the Umkhonto We's MK party barely 6 months into the job after he attended an Easter service at self-proclaimed Pastor Shepherd Bushiri's church. Bushiri from Malawi was one of South Africa's best-known preachers when he was arrested and charged with fraud in South Africa in 2020. After being released on bail, he managed to flee to his home country in unclear circumstances. South Africa has been trying to extradite him ever since. Iranian, Egyptian, and United Nations leaders have met in Cairo, Egypt, to discuss Iran's nuclear program after the United Nations nuclear watchdog agency said Iran is further increasing its stockpile of uranium enriched to near weapons-grade levels. Rafael Mariano Grossi, Director General of the Vienna-based Atomic Agency, said the agency compiled its reports and Iranian uranium enrichment is an ongoing concern for the agency's board of governors. And now time to catch some excitement from the world of sport. Super Eagles star Ademola Lookman has described his decision to switch international allegiance from England to Nigeria as one of the most defining choices of his football career. The 2024 CAF African Footballer of the Year said choosing to represent Nigeria changed everything for him, both personally and professionally. He said that decision has coincided with a dramatic rise in his profile, culminating in a historic Europa League final hat-trick against Bayer Leverkusen, which helped Atalanta win their first ever European title. The Confederation of African Athletics will commence its Olympic Talent Identification Initiative in Abeokuta, Ogun State capital, at the 2025 African Under-18, Under-20 Championships after partnering with the Worldwide Scholarships. According to Athletics Africa, the partnership between the CAA and WSS will officially begin at the CAA Under-18 and Under-20 Championships in Nigeria, which will serve as the starting point for identifying emerging athletic talent across the continent. The third edition of the CAA Africa Under-18 and Under-20 Combined Championships, now scheduled for between July 16 and July 20, 2025, was originally set to take place in Oran, Algeria, before being moved to Abeokuta due to logistical issues, and it's expected to attract over 500 young athletes from across the continent. And that's it on the midday news. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV, channel 365 and Star Times 276. Do well to follow us across all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG as well as other handles now showing on your screen. We encourage you to also download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our 247 broadcast. I'm Uyi Agmofwegbe, appreciating you for watching. We will see you again.